Look at that smiley face. Go ahead, take a good long look at it. Save money, live better. It sounds like a warm hug from a corporate giant, doesn't it? It feels like the ultimate safety net for the working class. But let's get real for a second. That is the most successful piece of gaslighting in human history. You walk into those sliding glass doors thinking you are the main character of a savvy financial success story. You think you're winning because you just scored a 70-inch television for a price that seems almost illegal. But honestly, that is a massive skill issue on your part. While you are busy hunting for a $5 discount on laundry detergent, Walmart is busy dismantling your entire local economy. They are turning your town into a retail desert and harvesting your personal data like a digital cattle ranch. You think you are saving money because the number on the receipt is lower? That is the illusion. In reality, you are funding the very machine that is making your future more precarious every single day. We have been conditioned to worship the rollback. We see that yellow arrow pointing down, and we feel a hit of dopamine. We think the system is finally working for us. But Walmart is not a store. It is a predatory algorithm that has optimized the art of the squeeze. They squeeze their suppliers until they go bust, they squeeze their employees until they need food stamps to survive, and they squeeze the life out of every mom and pop shop within a 50-mile radius. And the kicker? They have convinced you to thank them for it. The middle class is being liquidated, one great value product at a time. It is a closed-loop system where you spend your shrinking paycheck at the very place that ensured your wages would never rise. It is brilliant, it is terrifying, and it is perfectly legal. You are not the customer, you are the fuel. Ready to shift? Let's dive into the mechanism of the world's most successful predatory algorithm, Walmart. Let's talk about the first gear in this massive machine. Most people think Walmart is a retail store. That is your first mistake. Walmart is a logistics and supply chain predator that happens to have a few thousand physical locations. They don't just sell products, they dictate how products are made, how they are shipped, and exactly how much profit a manufacturer is allowed to keep, which in most cases is basically zero. Have you ever heard of vendor managed inventory, or VMI? It sounds like a boring business term, but it is actually the most brilliant scam ever pulled in the history of commerce. In a normal world, a store buys a product from a company, owns it, and tries to sell it. If it doesn't sell, the store takes the loss. Not at Walmart. Through VMI, Walmart forced the suppliers to be responsible for the inventory themselves. Think about that for a second. Walmart owns the shelf, but you, the supplier, own the product until the very millisecond it is scanned at the register. You pay for the warehouse space, you pay for the logistics, and if the product sits there and rots, that is your problem, not theirs. It is like a landlord making the tenant pay for the house, the taxes, and the repairs, while the landlord just sits back and collects the rent. It is pure genius, and it is absolutely cold-blooded. This is where the invisible squeeze happens. Walmart is obsessed with everyday low price. But that low price isn't coming out of Walmart's pocket. It is coming out of the supplier's hide. When Walmart tells a major brand that they need to drop the price of a gallon of milk or a box of cereal by 20 cents, that isn't a suggestion. It is an ultimatum. If you don't comply, you lose access to over 4,000 stores and 150 million weekly customers. You are effectively erased from the American economy. So what do the suppliers do? They don't just eat the loss, they can't. They start cutting corners. They use cheaper ingredients. They make the packaging thinner. They move their factories to countries with zero labor laws. Hot take alert. You aren't just getting a deal, you are getting a degraded version of reality. Have you ever noticed how a product you have bought for 10 years suddenly feels cheaper? Or the box gets smaller, but the price stays the same? That is the Walmart effect. They have squeezed the quality out of the entire global supply chain just so you can feel a tiny spark of joy seeing a lower number on a plastic tag. Now, let's play devil's advocate for a moment. Some people say this is just optimization. They say Walmart is the ultimate hero of efficiency. If a supplier can't survive on a 5% margin, maybe they just don't deserve to exist. Maybe that's just an L ratio for the inefficient. If a company goes bankrupt because they couldn't keep up with Walmart's demands, that is just the free market doing its job. Walmart is just the apex predator of the retail jungle, weeding out the weak and the slow to make the system leaner. Survival of the fittest, right? It is not bullying, it is evolution. But here is the real question for you. When you look at that low price, do you ever stop to think about the quality of what you are actually putting in your body or your home? Walmart has forced every manufacturer on earth to play a game where the only way to win is to make things worse. They are gatekeeping the American household, and the entry fee is your standards. Is a $2 discount really worth a product that breaks in a month or food that is 80% filler? You aren't winning the game. You are just participating in a race to the bottom. and Walmart is the one holding the stopwatch. If you thought the supply chain stuff was dark, buckle up. We are about to enter the digital heart of the beast. You see, selling boxes of detergent and cheap plastic toys is a tough business. The margins are razor thin. We are talking maybe 2 or 3% if you are lucky. But what if I told you that Walmart has found a way to make profit margins of over 60%? No, they didn't invent a new type of luxury gold-plated toilet paper. They just started selling you. Welcome to the era of Walmart Connect and the data panopticon. In the old days, Walmart was just a place where you exchanged cash for goods. But today, Walmart is a massive, high-definition surveillance state disguised as a grocery store. They aren't just tracking what you buy. That is amateur hour. They are tracking how you move through the aisles, which products you pick up and put back, how long you stare at a box of cereal, and exactly what time of day you feel the most vulnerable to a snack craving. Think about the Walmart app. Do you think it's there to help you find the pickles in aisle 12? That is the bait. The real purpose of that app is to turn your smartphone into a tracking beacon. By the time you walk from the entrance to the pharmacy, Walmart has collected more data on your behavior than a private investigator could find in a month. And here is the kicker. They are using AI super agents to process all of it. In 2025 and 2026, Walmart doubled down on their agentic future. They didn't just build a better search bar. They built an AI that knows your budget, your health goals, and your psychological triggers better than you do. This is what we call a retail media network. It is the new gold rush. Walmart is no longer just a retailer. They are a media company that happens to have shelves. They take all that juicy data they harvested from your shopping trips and they sell it back to the big brands. If a soda company wants to target someone who is feeling stressed, hungry, and has a history of buying sugary drinks on a Tuesday afternoon, Walmart can deliver that person to them on a silver platter. They are literally selling access to your brain. Hot take alert. You aren't the customer anymore. You are the product. You are the raw material that gets processed, refined, and sold to the highest bidder. When you see a personalized recommendation on your screen, don't think for a second that Walmart is trying to be helpful. That is not convenience. It is a psychological ambush. They are using your own history against you to make sure you never leave the store without spending $20 more than you planned. Let's bring in the devil's advocate for a second. Some people might say, hey, what is the big deal? I get better coupons. I get a personalized shopping experience. The AI helps me plan my meals and stay on track. Isn't this just the ultimate service? It's like having a personal assistant in my pocket for free. Walmart is just using technology to make life easier for the busy modern family. If they make a 60% profit margin on some ads, who cares? As long as my milk is cheap, I'm happy. This isn't a surveillance state. It's just a digital upgrade. But that is exactly how they want you to think. That is the ultimate gaslighting. They have convinced you that trading your privacy, your behavioral data, and your mental autonomy is worth a 50-cent coupon on some frozen pizza. It is a massive skill issue to think that a multi-billion-dollar corporation is giving you an AI assistant out of the goodness of their heart. Every single helpful suggestion is a calculated move to maximize their share of wallet. The physical store has become a laboratory. The cameras in the ceiling are not there to catch shoplifters. Well, maybe they are, but their primary job is to feed the algorithm. They are watching the heat maps of where people congregate. They are testing which colors and sounds make you spend more. They are creating a world where your every impulse is predicted and monetized before you even feel it. You are living in a digital cattle ranch, and the fences are built out of lines of code. Think again. You think you have free will in that aisle? You are just a variable in a very profitable equation. Now we have reached the most devastating gear in the machine. This is where the digital predatory algorithm meets the physical world and leaves it in ashes. We call this the scorched earth policy. You might know it by its more polite corporate name, the Walmart effect. But let's be real for a second. This isn't just an effect. It is a targeted invasion followed by a calculated abandonment. Imagine a small town in the heart of America. Let's call it Everytown. It has a local pharmacy that has been there for 3 generations. It has a family-owned grocery store where the owner knows your name. It has a hardware store that sponsors the local Little League team. The economy is modest, but it is circular. The money stays in the community. Then the smiley face arrives. Walmart announces they are building a massive supercenter on the outskirts of town. They promise hundreds of jobs. They promise lower prices for the struggling families of Everytown. They even ask the local government for massive tax breaks worth millions of dollars because they are investing in the community. The town council, desperate for any kind of growth, rolls out the red carpet. They give Walmart everything they want. This is where the blitz begins. Walmart uses its massive capital to sell products at a loss. They sell bread, milk, and medicine for prices that the local shops cannot possibly match. It is not a fair fight. It is like putting a heavyweight champion in the ring with a toddler. This is predatory pricing at its most clinical. Within 2 years, the local grocery store is gone. The pharmacy is boarded up. The hardware store is a ghost town. The local competition has been systematically liquidated. The circular economy of every town is dead. Now, every single dollar spent on a gallon of milk or a box of nails leaves the town and goes straight to Bentonville, Arkansas. But here is the real twist. The trap is now set. Once the competition is dead, Walmart owns the town. They are the only employer and the only supplier. But Walmart doesn't have loyalty to every town. They only have loyalty to the quarterly earnings report. Fast forward 10 years. The tax breaks have expired. The building is starting to need expensive repairs. Maybe a new Amazon warehouse opened nearby and snatched away some of the online sales. Suddenly, that specific supercenter is only hitting a 12% profit margin instead of the targeted 15%. They don't try to fix it. What does Walmart do? They don't try to help the community they supposedly invested in. They just lock the doors and leave. They leave behind a massive empty concrete shell that no one else can fill. And because they spent a decade killing every other grocery store in a 30-mile radius, they leave behind what experts call a food desert. Suddenly, the people of every town have nowhere to buy fresh vegetables or medicine. They have to drive 40 minutes to the next town just to find a head of lettuce. The elderly and the poor, the people who were supposed to live better because of Walmart, are now stranded in a nutritional wasteland. Let's look at the data because the numbers don't lie. Studies from UC Irvine and other major institutions show that when a Walmart enters a local market, the overall number of retail jobs actually decreases over time. For every one job Walmart creates, 1.5 jobs are lost in the local community. Even worse, research from Anbound shows that household incomes in the surrounding area drop by an average of 6% after a Walmart arrives, because the high-quality, middle-class jobs at local businesses are replaced by low-wage, part-time roles with zero benefits. Why? You aren't saving money. You are experiencing a managed decline of your entire standard of living. Hot take alert. Most of you watching this are probably living in a town that is currently being digested by this monster. You see the empty storefronts on Main Street and you think it is just the economy or the times. No, it was a choice. It was a move played by a predatory algorithm that views your town as a lemon to be squeezed dry and then tossed in the trash. Now let's bring back our favorite devil's advocate for a final round. Some would say, hey, that is just business. If the local shops couldn't survive, that is a massive skill issue. Why should a billion-dollar company stay in a town that isn't profitable? They were inefficient. They were slow. Walmart provided what the people wanted, which was cheap stuff. If the town becomes a food desert after they leave, that is the town's fault for not having a backup plan. It is survival of the fittest. The local hardware store owner didn't have the grind set to compete with a global titan. L ratio plus you are irrelevant. But that logic is hollow. It ignores the fact that Walmart didn't win through innovation. They won through scale and predatory subsidies. They used your own tax dollars to build the weapon that killed your neighborhood. They didn't just compete. They engaged in scorched earth warfare. So I have to ask you, is that $10 discount on a plastic toy worth the death of your neighbor's business? You are trading your community's future for a temporary hit of cheap consumerism. Is it worth the fact that your town no longer has a soul? Walmart knows you will make that trade every single time because they have spent decades training you to prioritize the rollback over everything else. You are participating in your own erasure, one shopping cart at a time. We are almost at the finish line. Ready to shift? So here we are. We have pulled back the curtain, we have looked at the gears, and we have seen the blood on the floor of the warehouse. We have dissected the supply chain tyranny that treats quality like a luxury it can no longer afford. We have mapped out the data panopticon where your every heartbeat and hunger pang is a data point for a 60% margin advertising business. And we have walked through the scorched earth of the food deserts left behind when the smiley face decides your town is no longer worth the tax break. It is simple. What is the final verdict? The house always wins. And in the game of global retail, Walmart is the house. A lot of you are probably thinking, fine, I will just shop at Amazon. I will just go digital and avoid the physical stores. But that is just another layer of the gaslighting. Switching from Walmart to Amazon is like choosing between a wolf and a shark. They are two different expressions of the same predatory algorithm. Amazon might have overtaken Walmart in total sales in 2025 and 2026, but Walmart still owns the physical reality of the American heartland. They own the land, they own the logistics, and now they own the AI agents that live in your pocket. The real tragedy is that we have been programmed to believe that this is the only way to live. We have been sold the lie that cheapness is the ultimate virtue. We have developed a massive case of main character syndrome, thinking that our individual $10 savings on a blender is more important than the survival of the local economy. But that is an NPC mindset. If you can't see that your $5 rollback is being funded by your own shrinking wages and the decay of your own neighborhood, that is the ultimate skill issue. Think about the loop. It is a perfect, closed circuit of exploitation. A worker at a local factory loses their job because their company couldn't meet Walmart's demands. That worker then gets a part-time job at Walmart because it is the only employer left in town. They receive a paycheck that is barely enough to survive, and because it is the only place they can afford, where do they spend that paycheck? Right back at Walmart? It is a digital sharecropping system polished with a smiley face sticker. They own your labor, and then they own your consumption. They are the landlord of your entire life, and it is only getting more intense. As we move further into the 2020s, Walmart is evolving. They are no longer content with just selling you a bag of chips. They want to be your healthcare provider. They want to be your bank. They want their AI super agents to be the ones who decide what you eat, what you wear, and how you think. They are building a digital surveillance state where your autonomy is the currency. No. It is looking out for the profit margin of the advertising partner who paid the most to Walmart Connect. Do you think it's looking out for your health? There is no happy ending here. There is no magical return to the mom-and-pop shops of the 1950s. That world is gone, and Walmart is the one who burned the bridge. The system is designed to be inescapable. You can't just opt out when the entire infrastructure of your society has been rebuilt to serve the needs of a single corporation. You stay sharp and stop being a passive variable in their equation. So what do? You recognize the rollback for what it is, a bribe to keep you from noticing the theft of your future. You stop falling for the gaslighting that says saving money is the same as living better. It isn't. Living better requires a community, it requires quality, and it requires a future that isn't owned by a board of directors in Bentonville. Walmart isn't going anywhere. They are too big to fail and too integrated to ignore. They will continue to evolve, continue to harvest, and continue to squeeze. They will keep using that smiley face to mask the cold, hard logic of a predatory algorithm. But at least now you know what is happening when you walk through those sliding doors. You aren't a customer. You are a resource. And the machine is hungry. Don't be the fuel. Be the wrench in the gears. Stop living in the matrix of the everyday low price and start seeing the real cost of every transaction. Because if you don't wake up, the only thing left will be a world made of cheap plastic, empty towns, and an AI agent telling you that everything is fine while it drains your bank account. That's it for today. Stay sharp and keep shifting. You know the drill. Like and subscribe.